Dear friends in Jesus Christ, as the very common saying goes, no man is an island. We are aware that to live and grow as human persons, we need others. We cannot live as individuals. Everyone relies on others. As pilgrims on the earth, we certainly encounter so many other human persons, interact with them, build relations with them, share in their joys and sorrows. Psalm 133, verse 1 says, "How good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell in unity." Truly it is indeed. Today, as we shall glance through the pastoral letter of the Archbishop for the pastoral year 2022-23 under the theme Follow Me, our prime focus will be on the section dedicated to communion with human persons. The first part of the pastoral letter emphasizes on communion and invites us to live in communion with the triune God, with fellow human beings, and with creation. Concerning communion with fellow beings, three platforms are proposed in the pastoral letter: communion among Catholics, communion among Christians who are non-Catholics, and communion with people of other religious traditions. Through Synod 2023, Pope Francis reminds us that all baptized are invited to walk together with Catholics, non-Catholics, people of other faiths, without making any discrimination based on age, gender, social status, disability, and state of life. Communion with brothers and sisters belonging to Catholic Church. Catholics interact with one another as family members, relatives, friends, neighborhood families, in small Christian communities, at workplace, and other church bodies. Participate joyfully in the activities that build communion. Share in the joys and struggles of one another. Shoulder the responsibilities in the church and try to maintain cordial relations, unity, and peace. However, misunderstanding, ego clashes, self-centeredness, and indifference amidst them creates divisions and animosity, which hinders walking together in the footsteps of Christ. Our Catholic communities of today need to reflect the image of early church in the Acts of the Apostles. The early Christian community was faithful to brotherly communion. Their communion was visible in their fidelity to the apostles' teaching, fellowship, breaking of the word, and prayer. Besides, they led an exemplary life of sharing with one another and reaching out to the needy. Our small Christian communities should strive to improve the ties of communion among us Catholics and embrace the diversity, thus being inclusive. On several occasions, Pope Francis highlighted the importance of inclusiveness and fraternity, thereby called for a more inclusive church that goes out into the existential peripheries. The synodal consultations held in Archdiocese helped us to introspect on the synodality prevailing in the Church, and the following has emerged. At times, Catholics prefer to journey only with whom they are comfortable with or share a common platform with, or if journeying together benefits them. Language, intellect, inferiority and superiority complex, socio-economic status, human differences, and way of life sometimes act as barriers in our journeying together. People living in dire poverty, socially excluded, sick, differently abled, migrants, refugees are seen as non-contributors towards the society and the church. People from lower castes, those having contagious diseases, those with different sexual orientation, seniors, widows, orphans, migrants, prisoners, drug addicts, alcoholics, etc., are left on the peripheries. As the followers of Jesus, we are called to embrace everyone, especially those on the peripheries, and make efforts to integrate them with the mainstream. Communion with brothers and sisters who are non-Catholic Christians. The church founded by Jesus is divided today on account of various reasons. The priestly prayer of Jesus expresses his ardent desire for unity among his followers, that they may all be one, just as you, Father, are in me and I in you. In Corinth, divisive forces were disrupting the unity of the church. Some said, I follow Paul, whereas some said, I follow Apollo. I follow Cephas, said a few, and I follow Christ, said the rest. Therefore, Paul warned the members with a fiery passion and presenting before them the powerful allegory of the body. He said that we belong to Christ as He is the body and we are its various parts. Saying so, he emphasized the need of communion in the Christian community. Today, in our archdiocese, we see many Christian groups that have broken away from the Apostolic Church. Ignorant of their beliefs and faith, we often look at them with suspicion, stay away from them, and fail to give them a humane life response. The great challenge before us is to be aware of their tenets and, keeping aside what divides us, we need to hold on to what unites us. There are many platforms for us to bolster our communion with Christians who are non-Catholics. Coming together to share in the joys and sorrows of one another, visiting each another, jointly organizing spiritual programs or conferences based on the Word of God, celebrating the octave of prayer for Christian unity in a more relevant manner, joining hands with one another in the struggles of social issues, etc. A divided Christianity contradicts the will of Christ, scandalizes the world, and damages the holy cause of preaching the gospel to every creature. Hence, we need to work towards the reunion of all Christians, thereby walking together the synodal way. Communion with brothers and sisters from non-Christian religions. In his public ministry, Jesus encountered people from non-Jewish religious traditions. He reached out to them in their needs and proclaimed the good news of God's kingdom to them. For instance, he had a fruitful dialogue with the Samaritan woman. He healed the daughter of the Canaanite woman, gave a new lease of life to the daughter of Jairus. At distance, he healed the servant of the Roman centurion. Thus, as he journeyed to build God's kingdom, Jesus maintained and treasured communion with diverse people of non-Jewish religious traditions. In India, the Catholic faithful live in a multi-religious society. However, their knowledge about the faiths, beliefs of the other religions is limited to the basic understanding of their certain rites, rituals, festivals, and occasions. Shortly after his election, Pope Francis called for more interreligious dialogue as a way of building bridges and establishing true links of friendship between all people. We have taken many steps towards communion. Nonetheless, we still have a long way to go. Interreligious dialogues and prayers, upholding and respecting each other's religious tenets, participating in their festivals and celebrations, showing concern and reaching out to them in their needs are necessary to improve relationships with members of other faiths and to build a healthy community. In his third encyclical, based on fraternity and social friendship, Fratelli Tutti, Pope Francis reiterates the following: the Church is a home with open doors because she is a mother. We want to be a church that serves, that leaves home and goes forth from its places of worship, goes forth from its sacristies in order to accompany life, to sustain hope, and to be the sign of unity, to build bridges, to break down walls, to sow seeds of reconciliation. Hence, let us walk hand in hand with our brothers and sisters within the Catholic Church, bolster our communion with Christians who are not Catholics, and build bridges of fraternity and peace with our brethren from non-Christian religions. As a synodal church, let us walk forward in communion to pursue a common mission through the participation of each and every one of her members, thereby striving to become the church that Jesus dreamed for, as he prayed in John chapter 17 verse 21, that they all may be one, just as you and I are one.